Okay, gang. So this is a new series I'm trying, and it's called Deal or No Deal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take foreclosures and tax deed sales that occurred in counties throughout the state of Florida, and we're gonna analyze them. We're going to take a look to see if, based on our opinions, that the investors got a good deal. So let's take a look at this first one. It's on Tennessee Avenue in a neighborhood called Melrose Park in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a pretty nice neighborhood, and you can tell this house is well kept, although the photograph, I think, says 2017. My old eyes can't really tell exactly when it was, but I don't think that's a 2. So this is an old photograph of the property that went to sale. The sale was July 7th, 22. We're going to find out more about that in a minute. But this is the property. This is what it looks like. It's kind of nice. Looks like it's a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom house. It's got a utility room in here, and it's got a little carport. So it's a nice little house. I would take this for the right price. So let's take a look closer and see what the investor paid for this. Okay, so this is a property sheet that you can get from the Broward County Property Appraiser's Office. And what this gives us is it gives us all the details about the property. It's 1160 Tennessee Avenue. There was the owner at the time of the sale, because this is I think I printed this sheet out before. I don't think CT was issued yet. I'm not sure. Maybe it was, because no, it's not, because there's no CT there. Okay, so this property is assessed for tax value at $291. So we're going to see right at $300,000 is what it's assessed for tax value. Now that's generally just a percentage of the assessed value. So I wouldn't put too much weight on that until we at least try to compare this property with other properties in the neighborhood. So $291 is the assessed value for taxes. 1,500 square feet. It's a single unit house. And this is very interesting. We had a quick claim deed in 2007, and the property sold for $300,000. Now, 2006 and 7, those were the subprime days when things were a little bit sketchy. So the last time it looks like this thing sold, it sold for $300,000. And let's take a look. If you want to dig into it a little deeper, let's take a look and see what that transaction looked like. So Roy Campbell, this is an old-time deed, too. Look at that. Look at the way that deed's prepared. So Roy Campbell sold it to Aaron. Let's see. No, Roy Campbell bought it from Aaron Dewin. So anyways, $300,000 is what they paid. This deed's not going to give us any information, although we can tell based on the doc stamps that they paid $2,100 in doc stamps. So that's the purchase price of $300,000. So that's a lot of bread. And anyways, let's go ahead. See, the reason it's surprising to me is the fact is you cannot get your money back. If you're renting that property out at $300,000, you're just not going to be able to make any money, because you can't rent it but for $2,200, $2,400. Anyways, all right, so let's go on. So this is the property that went to sale. This is a little bit about the sale page, the first sale page, where the auction was scheduled for July 6, 2022. It sold for $305,000. And this is the name I bid under, so that's not the name on title right now. So interestingly enough, the final judgment that's entered right here was entered for $438,921. Let's scroll down and see who the parties were. So the plaintiff in this case was U.S. Bank N.A. So they had a judgment of over $400,000, and what they did is they discounted their bid, which is a practical tactic of lenders when they know that there's too much owed on the house, and they don't want to have to worry about sitting with this thing and commissions and real estate taxes and all the other things that come with owning property. They said, let's go ahead and discount it. My guess is, based on this and something else you'll see in a minute, that they discounted it down considerably. So they dropped it down over $100,000. So these are all the parties in the foreclosure suit. And here's the owner, Roy Campbell. He's the main owner. But when there's a foreclosure, anybody else that has a lien or any interest that's recorded on the property has to be foreclosed out. And in this case, we had 3 defendants, and one was the property owner, Roy Campbell, and then we had the association for Melrose, and we had the city of Fort Lauderdale. They all had liens or something recorded against the property. That's why they're named. So The next page, we're going to get more deeper into the sale itself. So with this page, what I want you to look at is this section. Where is it? This section right here. Because this superimposes itself over the sheet. But what I did is I looked for bid history, and I wanted to see how many bids were on this thing. So we pull up bid history, and it starts right here and goes down to the bottom here. So the bid history of this is that there was only one bidder on this property, bidder number 97339. Don't ask me how I could see that. I really had to squint. But anyways, it's always a scary thing when you're the only bidder on a property, because that generally means that nobody else was interested in that price. And it looks to me like, based on this, that the plaintiff opened the bidding at $305,000, and the winning bidder, this S&L Roofing and Remodeling Inc., they paid $305,100, and they won. Like I said, you never want to be the only bidder on a property, because it doesn't mean that you got a good deal, because nobody bid against you. So listen, I didn't say that right. Doesn't mean you didn't get a deal. They think they did. They may have, but generally one of the things I look at is the competition, how many people bid the thing up, and the bid number. So this is a 97339 number. So this is a relatively recent bid number. I'm going to suggest this was handed out sometime after 2021. So I'm also going to suggest that these guys probably have not purchased too many foreclosures because they got excited about a skinny spread. That's in my mind. So, okay, so let's take a look at some of the recent sales in the neighborhood. So Broward County gives you a nice little sheet about recent sales that you can pull up stuff that's within a mile or a half a mile of the neighborhood. Now you see all these street names. They're all in Melrose Park. And Melrose Park is a circular neighborhood, so all these properties are pretty close together. So let's take a look at this one. Let's see, it's 423. Let's see. We want to try to find something that's assessed. See, this is assessed at 381. Let's try and find something that's assessed closer to the subject. So let's go down to this 421 and see what that's assessed at. Okay, this is assessed at 254. Let's take a look at what the house looks like. All right, that's not terrible. I think this is a little bit bigger house. Doesn't have any landscaping, which makes it kind of shady looking, but it looks like it's got new windows. It's got a reasonably roof, and the paint job is nice. One car garage. I couldn't fit my truck in there, but it's a one car garage, and this is a pretty close representation based on the assessed value. So this thing sold for $420. So I'm going to suggest that we're going to set a high of 420. I don't think we're going to go any higher than that. Let's see about this 400,000 one. And of course, this is without the benefit of, okay, this is a lot less than our current of 300,000. And this sold for 400,000. Let's see what the picture looks like. Like I said, this is without the benefit of MLS. So this house looks like it needs some rehab just on the front of it. It doesn't look like it's something I'm going to be interested in buying, thinking I'm going to move in, which is with my toothbrush. But we don't have the benefit of MLS. So we're really going to be guessing as to whether or not they got a deal at $305,000. I'm going to suggest that these investors probably think they did, and they probably have a value of close to 4, which is a decent spread, 25%. But if I had to borrow money to buy this house, even if I had no rehab, I'm going to be a little tight, because that debt service is going to add up quickly. The market is a little soft right now. I'm not going to get multiple offers like I would have just 60 days ago. And number two, the property it's just like stepping on a ship that or a little boat that's got water on it. You never know when the water's going to stop coming on and when the values are going to stop going down. So just based on the fact that they paid $100 more than the plaintiff wanted as an opening bid, and nobody else bid against them, I'm going to suggest that they're probably going to squeak out some money here. But I don't think that it's enough for me to try to buy this thing, just because of it's scary Now, here's one. Let's look at this one. It's a quitclaim deed, so I'm going to suggest that this is probably an investor buying this house because they bought a house for $142. Now, that sounds like a little bit more my style. So here we are, $327 assessed value. It looks good on paper. The house it's probably a big house with a carport in the front. I'm not a great fan of that style, but these are 2 bedrooms. I can't tell what's over there. And Melrose had a lot of builders, so there's really no telling. But there's new windows, so I like the way that looks. I love the price. Let's see if it's an investor or not. So the previous sale was $205 for $260,000. This sale was in 2022, and just the other month, just a couple months ago, for $142. What a deal this is. Let's take a look and see what the deed says and what this can give us some information about what happened on this transaction. Okay. One little clue is that they're prepared by and after recording returned to is to an investor. We know that that person's an investor because they prepared their own deed and they're going to record it once it's put together. There's no attorneys involved. So in order to do this, you have to have some knowledge about deeds and things of that nature, and that comes naturally as being an investor. So we scroll down. It's a standard deed, quitclaim deed. They're only going to pay 70 cents. Oh, they pay doc stamps on the full price. Okay. Because generally they only pay doc stamps on a quitclaim deed for the $10 of the good and valuable consideration. I don't know why they put 1 there. I think that's a mistake. But in any event, this is very interesting. It's the first time I've ever seen this. Mr. Elton Douglas is unable to sign any of the documents, so he's going to use an X as his only signature or verbal consent. There, it's dated. Now, it's done in front of a notary, so the notary is the one that's going to attest to this, as well as Mr. Douglas's mark. So it's kind of interesting that that's what they're doing. And here is the signature of the buyer, the grantee. Here's the witnesses for both parties, and mail subsequent tax bills to these property addresses. So this is it's all well and good, but I think the best thing about this is the deal that they got. They got a deal of $142. I'm going to suggest that this property is easily worth $350, even on a bad day. So I think that this guy got a better deal than our investor did. But I'd like to know your thoughts. Leave it, or you can send me an email. I don't even know if I'm going to put this on YouTube or whether I'm going to leave it on my website. But in any event, let me know what you think about it. It's a good looking house. It has a lot of potential. But again, you're buying into a market that's red hot on the downward side. So this property is not going to be worth as much next month as it is this month. And we'll see how far that lasts or how low it goes. But in any event, leave whatever your comments are wherever I let you do it. It's either going to be in the comments on the bottom of the video, or it's going to be at my website or something like that. I'll leave you a chance because I want to hear what you have to say. Plus, if you have any ideas of other properties that you want me to analyze like this, I'll be happy to do it. Doesn't matter the state or the county, as long as the websites are friendly and I can pull up enough information to make a reasonably experienced explanation. So with that said, this is Alfred. I'm sorry I don't got the blue jacket on, the purple jacket on. It's too hot. So I'm in a t-shirt and a hat. So anyways, listen, enjoy your week, and I'll see you again soon.